This is 2, it says, for lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. One of the ways of doing this is by the process of iconoclast, which, as we see, is matching up with what the scripture says they would have done. Which one being stripping us from the information and adding themselves into it. Maccabees, first Maccabees chapter 3 and verses 48, I believe. And it says, straight to the point, and laid open the books of the law, wherein the heathen had sought to paint the likeness of their images. So they have painted the likeness of themselves into our books. And in thus changing the history and identity of the true Israelites, what they basically would look like. So we must understand this. And they even went on to even take the land into possession and did not want to give it back. You have many precepts upon that. Let's get one precept before it continues, which is in Ezekiel 36 and verses 5, and we'll go even to the Maccabees if we need to. Or not Maccabees here, or Ezra, and I think it's in Maccabees also. Let's see. It says, therefore, thus saith Yahweh power, surely in the fire of my jealousy I have spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea. Who is Idumea? Let's get that information also in the NLT and in definition, identifying it to be Edom. Let's go into it. Before we, and I know we say it, but let's also show it. That's what I'm trying to do. Say it and show it, basically. So, Ezekiel 36 and verses 5. Read in the NLT. It says, this is what the sovereign Lord says. My jealous anger burn against these nations, especially Edom. Now you understand? Again, surely the fire of my jealousy have I spoken against the residue of the heathen and against all Idumea, which is, I say, especially Edom. Because when they go into the information forward here, into the interlinear, Idumea, where it goes into, which is
Strong's H123.
Edom.
Edom.
Doesn't matter.
Edom.
Good. Which means, as you can see here, Edom, Edomite, Idumea, the descendant of Esau, which is Edom. Let's continue. Edom, as they say. Let's continue. So, which have appointed my land into their possession. Which is the land of Yahweh Shem Yahushai? It's the land of Israel. It says, and again, which have appointed my land into their possession with the joy of all their heart, with despiteful minds to cast it out for a prey. Which was also informed to happen as to why they are going to be judged. As verse 6 says, prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, which is why we do this on a monthly basis. Prophesy therefore concerning the land of Israel, and say unto the mountains, and to the hills, and to the rivers, and to the valleys, thus saith Yahweh power, behold, I have spoken in my jealousy and in my fury, and have borne the shame of the heathen. Because this was going to happen. It was directly planned to take place. Let me get a plan before you continue. Actually, we have it here too, you know. Let me go into it and see if we find it here. This one. I believe. Right here. Read from verse 15. As thou didst rejoice at the inheritance of the house of Israel, because it was desolate, so will I do unto thee. Thou shalt be desolate, O Mount Seir, and all Idumea, even all of it, and they shall know that I am Yahweh. Because when you go into Obadiah, showcasing what's going to happen to Esau, mainly, look at what he was doing. Let's read. I believe verse 10. Read from verse 10. It says, Obadiah chapter 1 and verse 10, for thy violence against thy brother, shame shall cover thee, and thou shalt be cut off from forever. Notice that is one of the main recipients and the main enemy. What were they doing? In the day that thou stoodest on the other side, and in the day the stranger carried away captive his forces, and foreigners entered into his gates, and cast lots upon Jerusalem, even thou wast as one of them. Because why? They have what? Come together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones. They have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. Let's get the other precept showing that they didn't want to let us give it back. I believe it's in the Edomite. I believe in the Apocrypha right there. I see. Yeah, let's go back into verses. Verse 45. Right, let me from here. Right, let's read. First Ezra chapter 4 verse 45. Thou also hast vowed to build up the temple which the Edomites burnt when Judea was made desolate by the Chaldees. And now, O Lord the King, this is that which I require and which I desire of thee, and this is the princely liberality proceeding from thyself. I desire therefore that thou make good the vow, the performance whereof with thine own mouth thou hast vowed to be the King of heaven. Then Darius the king stood up and kissed him, and wrote letters for him unto all the treasurers and the lieutenants and the captains and governors, that they should safely convey on their way both him and all those that go up with him to build Jerusalem. He wrote letters also unto the lieutenants that were in Seleucia and Phoenice, and unto them in Lebanus, that they should bring cedar wood from Lebanus unto Jerusalem. Alright. And that they should build the city with him. Moreover, he wrote for all the Jews that went out of his realm up into Jewry concerning their freedom, that no officer, no ruler, no lieutenant, no treasurer should forcibly enter into their doors, and that all the city, all the country which they held should be freed without tribute, and that the Edomites should give over the villages of the Jews which then they held. They didn't give it. They kept it. Stubborn, evil people, they didn't give it back. They kept it. They ensured prophecy. They make sure prophecy has to happen because they know they will be next in ruling. They did their very best to keep us in a lower state. Alright, it says what? They have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. Tabernacles of Edom, one of our major enemies, and Ishmaelites, and of Moab, and the Hagarenes, Gebal, and Ammon, and Amalek, the Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. Asher also is joined with them. They have helped on the children of Lotselah. Do unto them as unto the Midianites, as to Sisera, as to Jabin at the brook of Kison. So we have continued to see the plots and plans against our people, want to remove our history so that we forget who we are. And that's how they were able to take up our heritage and take the land to possession and go into court and keep the land as their own, which, as we know, you can't restore your birthright as long as you give it away. I'm sorry, Esau. This is why Yahushua came, and this is why he's going to destroy you all. But let's continue with the lesson for the purpose of edification. Let's go back. So, as we continue to this part, dealing with what the Messiah would have looked like, that's why it says, we gave the description of the Messiah, which you can get in the scriptures also, which is Revelation chapter 1 and verses 14 and 15. And it says, and his head and his hairs were white like wool, as white as snow, and his eyes was a flame of fire. Let's go into that definition of the word wool. Even though we went into it already, we see what it goes into, and we're going to go in all definitions, and we're going to go from regular Wikipedia says woolly head, a woolly headed person. It says potentially offensive, a black or Arab with afro textured hair, as you've seen right there. As you continue, we have more to go. We ain't stopping. It says, oh well, that's damn thing. Next definition. The definition is a soft fine curl hair which covers sheep or goat, etc. Thick, crispy, curly hair as of a Negro. Right there. Negro. As we continue, there's more. There's more information being brought out. And it continues, it says, in the 1894, the soft curled hair of sheep and other animals, closely curled hair of Negroes. We can keep going because the link is right in the front. www.dictionary.net. Simple link. You can get this. It's a credible source of dictionary that you can grab at any way. It continues. It continues. In 1920, a person with black. Now this is where it gets heavily detailed and might be racial bias or what I mean, offensive to people. A person with black skin, thick lips. Why would you say thick lips and highlight thick? Thick lips, anyways. Broad nose and woolly hair as native or descendants of native of equilateral Africa. So in other words, Negroes. Coming back to what we say, which is shown here. As you go further, as you read this already, so we had to read it again by Charles Rebota. We also have another Wikipedia, which is woolly head, which is woolly head, synonym of nappy, having tightly curled. I'm not seeing the rest. Why are you not seeing the rest? Okay, tightly curled here. I just had to say here. I don't know. So the highlight, that screenshot is be the worst sometimes, and I just wonder why. All right, so as you continue now, let me go back into the information we're going to get dealing with Messiah. So we first see his hair is woolly, which goes into what the texture of a Negro hair, or resembling the Negroids hair, or even describe of a person with black lips, a black skin, thick lips, broad nose, and native to equilateral Africa. That is very vague, very vague. But let's continue to the next one. So, Shalom.